Okay.
You're doing a good job. That's
okay, great. Thank you. All right. The first question comes from Claudia Quinones from United We Dream Action. Claudia, where are you? There she is. Okay.
My name is Claudia Quinones. I'm undocumented, currently protected from deportation under DACA. I am the DC, Maryland, Virginia lead organizer for United We Dream Action, the largest immigrant youth-led organization with over 400,000 members and 100 affiliates in 28 states. Senator Sanders, this year you signed onto a letter calling for the decreasing of funds to ICE and CBP. What are you willing to do to further expose and defund these rogue agencies that are detaining and deporting our community and people like my mother?
As the ranking member of the Budget Committee, I worked hard on a budget which ended up being one of the better budgets we've had in recent years, especially given Trump's presidency. You know why I voted against a budget that I helped write? Because it did not include any provisions to provide legal status to the young people in DACA. That's why I voted against that. I consider the issue of 1.8 million young people who know the United States as their only country and who are facing deportation as perhaps the great moral issue facing this country today. The idea that kids who were raised in this country, went to school in this country, are working now, are in the military. The idea that they could be subjected to deportation is beyond words. It is disgraceful beyond words. So I will do everything I can in every way to make sure that the young people who are eligible for DACA or in the DACA program get the legal status that they deserve, and that for all undocumented people, we move toward comprehensive immigration reform and a path toward citizenship.
Adelaide Tembe, who is a member of the National Domestic Workers Alliance. Adelaide, please go on with your question. Oh, babe.
My name is Adelaide, and I'm from Mozambique. I'm a domestic worker. I've been here in the USA 10 years ago. As a domestic worker and immigrant and a black woman, I have suffered from abuse, racism, and exploitation in this country. But I have also been a part of a powerful movement, and I have seen that when ordinary people come together, we can really change things. My daughter, who is almost 2 years old, is a U.S. citizen. I want her to grow up with more rights and opportunities than I have had, but also I know that I have to teach her how to fight to her rights, because even a citizen, she may also face discrimination. Every day I see Trump and the supporting, blaming black people, all new immigrant trying to divide the working people. They know that if we all join together, we can fight for more farming. Just like we want better wages, safer workplace, and civil rights in the past. It is not enough for Democrats to condemn racism. We also need real action. My question, what are you doing for fighting against racist politics and rhetoric and the real inclusion in this country.
Thank you, Adelaide, for that question and for pointing out that what we are here for today is for your daughter and for the millions of other children. Now, Trump's policies of giving tax breaks to billionaires and trying to cut Social Security or Medicare and Medicaid is something that disgusts me. Trump's love, apparently, for authoritarian leaders all over the world and is trying to divide up and destroy the North Atlantic Alliance, something I cannot understand. But above and beyond all of that, the thing that disturbs me most about Trump is his demagogic desire to divide this country up based on the color of our skin or the country that we came from or our sexual orientation or our religion or our gender. What a president of the United States is supposed to be doing, and in fact, more or less has happened regardless of ideology, is that when you're president, you know the job is to bring people together, not divide them up. So Adelaide, to answer your question, in the last year and a half, I've been to over 30 states in this country. That's where I travel. And most of the states that I visited are states that voted for Donald Trump. And the reason I go to those states is to tell the people of those states not to let Trump divide them up, that we have more in common than we have differences. That every person in this country wants and needs health care as a right. They need decent wages. They need to be able to be sure their kids get a decent education. So Adelaide, I am doing everything that I can to try to bring people together in this country so that working people can have a government that represents all of us and not just the billionaire class. Thank you, people.
Question comes from the Wisconsin Education Association, from Kim Schroeder, who's Secretary-Treasurer of the Wisconsin Education Association and a delegate of the Working Families Party National Committee. Kim, go ahead.
Good morning, Senator. I'm Kim Schroeder, WEAC Secretary-Treasurer-elect. I haven't taken office yet, so let's not get my predecessor angry at me. I'm the president also of the Milwaukee Teachers Education Association, and like you said, a Wisconsin delegate to the Working Families Party National Committee. I'm excited for November, but to be honest, I'm not sure how much change we'll get even if the Democrats win big. In my experience, politicians of both major parties pay more attention to the donors than they do to their voters. Now, Republicans are worse than Democrats, but Democrats aren't nearly good enough. I'm also not naive. We the people know that big money interests, Wall Street, Silicon Valley, Big Pharma, on and on and on. Big money people and industries think that the current system is just fine. They know that their ideas aren't popular with the public, but their money buys them friends in high places, whether it's Washington, D.C. or state capitals like Madison, Wisconsin. As a fourth grade teacher, I've taught my students, it's supposed to be one person, one vote, not $1, one vote. Yeah. Ordinary, terrific people with a history of service and commitment to the community, to a union, to a house of worship, a local PTA, they never even usually think of running for Congress because they don't have rich friends or family. And that's just wrong. This is supposed to be a democracy, and And the rich and the powerful use their economic power to grab hold of political power, and then they use that political power to make themselves richer and more powerful still. So my question is, what can we do to level the playing field? If Democrats and their allies take Congress back in November, what are you going to do, and how can we help to make this an actual democracy that is truly of the people, by the people, and for the people?
Kim, the issue that you raise may be the most important issue of all. Because at the end of the day, we're not going to be able to take on Wall Street. We're not going to be able to take on the insurance companies or the drug companies. We're not going to be able to take on the military-industrial complex who just gave us the largest military budget in the history of this country. We're not going to do that until we overturn Citizens United. And until we move to public funding of elections. You are absolutely right. All of us share a radical idea that in a democracy we may disagree on this or that issue, but the result should be based on one person, one vote. Not the Koch brothers and other billionaires pouring $400 million into this midterm election. Not candidates going all over the country, not to talk to working people, but to sit in a living room with a handful of billionaires who will tell them what they, the billionaires, want. And if you look at the legislation that comes to the floor of the House, without exception, it is legislation bought and paid for by the wealthiest campaign donors in this country. So what we have got to do is two things. Obviously, we need real campaign finance reform, ending Citizens United, moving to public funding of elections. But what we also need to do is not continue to have the lowest voter turnout of almost any major country on earth. The Republicans won 4 years ago a landslide victory for two reasons. Number one, we have the lowest voter turnout in America since World War II. Number two, big money helped them buy the elections. Our job is to turn that table around, get big money out of politics, make it easier for people to vote, end voter suppression, and build a strong grassroots movement. Thank you, Jim.